Welcome to Game of the Day, where I randomize a date and play a game that came out on that same day. Today we're starting with 2003 for the year and July 3rd for the date. There were 3 eligible titles on that date, and the one we got served was Perfect Ace Pro Tournament Tennis. The game features 3 modes consisting of a single match, tournament, and a championship. In single match mode, you can choose between 16 different courts around the world that are either indoor or outdoor and have either a hard, clay, grass, or carpet surface. Once you selected a court, it was time to pick your player, as there were 32 of them to choose from that had short bios and stats consisting of serve speed and preferred surface. Yet, despite their appearances, none of them seem to be actual tennis players, so I'm curious who these face wraps belong to. Anyways, on to the actual gameplay. You have the serve mechanic that's a power bar, and the higher the power you had it at, the faster the serve, which was indicated with the speedometer on the left. Once the match is in place, you are able to lob, slice, topspin, or normally hit the ball and control the direction you wanted with the left stick. It took a bit of time getting the timing right, as there weren't any indicators, but after you got that down, you only had to focus on outsmarting the CPU, which brings me to the game's difficulty. By default, the game's on medium, which is pretty lenient on timing, and the CPU isn't always the brightest, but once I cranked it up to hard, it was an entirely different game. While I also turned up the game speed, it felt more akin to an actual tennis match, as ball placement actually began to matter. This became most apparent in tournament mode, which sees you going through a gauntlet of 5 opponents at different locations. I was only able to get to the 3rd round out of 5 before I got bounced, but I tried to get on medium, which saw me finally winning the trophy in a kinda underwhelming cutscene that features my player having a stroke. Now going into championship mode, it saw you selecting a country that was represented by 2 players and enter a tournament bracket where you had to win best of 5 in different singles and doubles configurations to advance. While singles in this game worked fine enough, doubles was a bit of a headache for a couple of reasons. Since the camera was locked unlike it was in singles, it was a bit difficult to understand depth. It became hard to be on the same page as your AI partner, and if you were the receiver's partner, majority of rallies ended up with your return bouncing out of the back. But even though I was able to get into the game, as the gameplay itself was okay, in general it felt pretty bare bones. There wasn't much of a presentation, no stats were kept of you after matches, movement was a bit glitchy, and it could have benefited from having actual player attributes to make them feel more unique, just to name a few issues. But to end on a positive note, I did appreciate how you could play with up to 4 players, along with you had the ability to change the game and set amount, which was pretty nice. So with everything taken into account, I'd have to give this game an unforced error out of 10. Make sure to follow and leave a comment about what you think of this game, and I'll see you guys in the next one.